Hey everyone, it's Haley Jensen, your East Idaho realtor, and if this is the first time you have found one of my videos, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This is a good place to start because today we're going to talk about whether or not you should move to Idaho Falls. Okay, like any city, Idaho Falls might not be the right fit for you. So let's talk about some of the reasons you should move to Idaho Falls. Number one, depending on where you're coming from, is the cost of living. Yes, we have a lower cost of living than the national average. So if you are in California or Oregon or Washington, chances are we have a lower cost of living here. Now on the flip side, our home prices since COVID have started to rise. So if you think that you can come to Idaho and get a home, brand new home in the 200s or 300s or lots of land, that's really not the case anymore. We are still quite affordable compared to other larger cities, especially compared to places like Boise or Coeur d'Alene, our bigger cities in the state of Idaho. So we are more affordable than other places in Idaho. We're lower than the national average, but I want you to be aware that when you start your home search, you may be surprised that our average price here in Idaho Falls is in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. Okay, the second reason that you should move to Idaho Falls is our proximity to outdoor activities. So if you want space, if you want to be able to go hiking or fishing, dirt biking, snowmobiling, this is a really great place for you to have access to all of those outdoor activities. We love to visit Yellowstone. We love to visit Island Park and the Palisades. There's a lot of places within an hour or two drive to get some of the most beautiful views in the entire country. However, on the flip side of that, if you're in a place like Boise or Coeur d'Alene, those options are going to be closer, like in your backyard. So they have the green belt, they have more hiking, really, really close. So is it the most beautiful views you've ever seen? No, but it is a little bit closer. Like if you're in Eagle, you have access to these amenities a little bit closer. And like we talked about before, you're also going to pay for that because your cost of living and the average home price is going to be quite a bit more expensive in Boise than it is here. So for outdoor activities, we love to hike. We love to ski. We have great ski resorts close. And my kids especially love to fish. And we have some excellent fishing about 45 minutes to an hour from where we are in Idaho Falls. So if you are willing to do a little bit of a drive to get to some really beautiful picturesque places, Idaho Falls is an excellent hub for you to have access to all of those different outdoor activities. All right, let's talk about community and lifestyle. So here in Idaho Falls, we are rural-ish. We are starting to grow. There's about 65,000 people in the Idaho Falls area. So if you are moving from a really large city, this might feel really small to you. That might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. But we're a really friendly community, really family focused. We definitely lean conservative on the political spectrum, more religious. So if you are looking for a place that is a little bit more aligned with your political or religious views, you might check out Idaho Falls. I will say that other places in Idaho, surprisingly, lean a little bit more liberal. So if you go to the east or the western side of the state, over to Boise, we differ greatly in our political views. Let's put it that way. So Boise has had a lot of transplants from bigger cities, especially during COVID. Everyone from California seemed to move to Boise. What did it do? It affected the housing market for sure, affected the job market, and affected the way that Boise votes. It affected who's on the school boards. It affected who's on the HOA board. So it did affect a lot of things in Boise. Whether that's good or bad, that's up to you. Those are just the facts. If you are looking for a slower paced, more right-leaning, conservative-leaning community, you might want to check out Idaho Falls as opposed to somewhere like Boise. Let's talk weather. It's one of the questions I get all the time, especially from my clients moving from California. We do have cold winters here, and they last quite a long time. It's April 2nd today. We got a little tiny flurry of snow, nothing that's gonna stick on the ground, but it's still cold. My daughter has a track meet today, and she is bundling up. She's bringing blankets. So spring always seems to just take a really long time to get here. So we get through the winter. We didn't have snow until after Christmas, which is starting to kind of be the trend. And then we have like a cold January through April. So if you are worried about the weather, it's definitely something to consider. One thing that I always tell people is that although it is cold here, we get a lot of days of sunshine. So the sun is out, the sky is blue, which really helps to kind of keep your spirits up. I always tell my clients to just be prepared, get the right snow gear, get the right gloves, get the right head stuff for when you want to go on your walk, so you can just still be outside and enjoy yourself even though it's cold. Okay, let's talk the summers. Summers are absolutely beautiful. We love them here because they're warm, they're not hot. So I grew up in Boise, my family's still there, and they always get like a really hot week or two where they're over 100, and we just don't get that out here. So our summers are warm, they're really pleasant. The nights cool off, the kids are running around playing night games in the evening because it's just so pleasant. That's when we love to go hiking, backpacking. And so if you are not afraid of the winter, you like a little bit of seasons, so you have some variety with your weather throughout the year, Idaho Falls might be a really good fit for you. All right, job market. So if you are just looking for a change of pace and you're gonna be coming to Idaho Falls and finding a new job, our job sectors focus around education, healthcare, and energy. I've spoken about the Idaho National Laboratory before. That brings a lot of our relocators here to Idaho. So if you're in one of those three sectors, chances are you'll be able to find a job here. However, we are a smaller community, so our job openings might not be as abundant as a larger city. So keep that in mind. If you have any questions about where to look for jobs or where to apply, I would love to help you kind of get the ball rolling and give you some ideas of what might suit you here in our area. Let's talk education. So it's no secret if you've been poking around the internet that Idaho schools are not ranked very high. There are some changes happening with local legislation and state legislation to try to remedy that and to get Idaho schools on track. So that will be coming hopefully here in the near future. If you have any questions about that, I am happy to answer those questions. I will say we are limited in charter and private schools. That just really hasn't quite caught on here yet, but some of that legislation coming to the state of Idaho might be changing that. I think we have one private Christian school here in Ammon and a handful of charter schools. So if that is something that's important to you, make sure you're looking at that and getting on those lists early. Personally, I have spent a lot of times actually substituting in the schools. I get involved. I have kids in elementary, junior high, and high school. So I kind of know how the school systems work here. And I would tell any parent moving to the state of Idaho, or any state really, that if you are concerned with your child's education, to get involved when you move here, meet your child's teacher, meet the administrators, go to the school board meetings, and really get involved so you know kind of how things work here. All my children are in public Idaho schools, and we supplement at home. We make sure that they are getting help with their homework, etc. And we have had some great experiences with teachers here and administrators. And like anywhere you go, we've had, some not so great experiences as well. So you're gonna find that anywhere you go. And it's kind of a trade-off, right? So if you move to a smaller community because you wanna be in a Republican state or city, you wanna be in a little bit less liberal state, that's gonna translate to your education a little bit. So keep that in mind as you're making your decisions, that maybe the pros of the community outweigh the cons of kind of the lower test scores in education. But I've said it on here before, and I'll say it again. I graduated from Idaho schools. I've turned out just fine. I'm a firm believer that so much of our children's education comes outside of school, in our family dynamics, in our community, and in what we choose to do, in the outdoors and traveling, etc. So I keep my kids in Idaho Public School. They're doing just fine. If you have any more questions, if you're a mom, a dad who are really concerned about education, please don't hesitate to reach out and we can just have a conversation about it. Another question I get a lot about Idaho Falls is how is the healthcare? We are definitely growing in the healthcare sector. We have now 3 different hospitals right here in Ammon. I did a video on that as well. I think it was called my 3 most commonly asked questions. So if healthcare is a question you have, go to my channel, check that video out. I have been able to have my family's health concerns all treated here in Idaho Falls. We don't have any specialized needs or niche needs that would require any really niche specialties. But I have friends that have and family members that have. And when that's the case, most often you are referred to Salt Lake City, which is about a 3-hour drive from here. So I have friends whose kids have been at Primary Children's in Salt Lake City, and that's where some of the really specialized pediatrics is, some of the really specialized oncology is. And so we kind of share that healthcare burden with Salt Lake City and University of Utah. Really great options there. But in terms of what we've needed to get done here in Idaho Falls, my family personally has been able to find great pediatricians, great gynecology to have babies, all of that. We even are getting more and more like fertility clinics, etc. So make sure you watch that other video. I go into it in a little bit more detail. But if you just have kind of run-of-the-mill medical needs, we can definitely see those here in Idaho Falls. So speaking of Salt Lake City, let's talk about the proximity of Idaho Falls to larger cities. So we're in the state of Idaho. You'd think that we'd run to Boise for any of our bigger city needs, but it's actually quicker to get to Salt Lake City than it is to Boise. So if we're looking for something really fun to do, a lot of times you'll find us in Salt Lake City for like a concert, a jazz game. Sometimes we fly out of the Salt Lake City airport. Sometimes we'll go down and do some school shopping and kind of have a little mini vacation down in Salt Lake City. So in terms of those bigger cities, we have Boise, which we love to travel to in the spring. Okay, so there you have it. There's just a really quick overview of why you should or shouldn't move to Idaho Falls. We have a lot of people still inquiring about Idaho Falls from places like Washington, Oregon, California mostly, because they're looking for kind of a slower paced, fewer people, more conservative politically, and they're just looking for a fresh start. So if that sounds like you, if you are interested in having a place where your kids can ride their bikes outside, or heaven forbid, play night games in the dark, in the street like my kids do all summer and run around with a big group of kids, and I know that they're completely safe, you might want to check out Idaho Falls. Come visit, come and see if you like the vibe and if it seems like a place that your family could call home. Okay, if you're still watching, you heard my Alexa timer go off. Anyway, a lot of times we'll head over to Boise in the spring, just really beautiful weather there. When we're still a little bit colder here, it tends to warm up in Boise before us. So if you are looking for like a concert that's coming to town or any type of like sports team, Boise and Salt Lake are great places to travel to. With that said, we do have a hockey team now here, and we have the Mountain America Center. So more concerts and more exciting things are coming to Idaho Falls, like Disney on Ice, where we used to have to go to Salt Lake for all of that. So we are slowly getting some more exciting things for you to do as a family here in Idaho Falls. And as always, if you are interested in moving to Idaho Falls, please don't hesitate to reach out. Email, text, or call me. I love taking your calls and answering your questions about Idaho Falls and if it's the right place for you. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.